Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. We have about 6 albums for this one to go through. Don't really have a lot of preambles, so let's just get to it. We are starting with a band I've actually been a fan of for a while, but not a lot of people are familiar with, called 2 Minute Minor. They're a good bunch of Chicago boys, and this is their new album, Goon's Best Friend Till the Very End. This one came out in June. This is actually their second album this year, but I'm getting it as their only one because the one before this was a bunch of covers of old cartoon TV themes. I should listen to that at some point. I'm not going to review it, but I should. But yeah, this album gets an A. I'm a huge fan of 2 Minute Minor. It's only 14 seconds long. There's not a lot of songs on it, but goddamn, I've always loved their commitment to just making everything sound like a banger. I love how much they've matured in terms of their lyrics as well. Really good, subject matter. Like, there's some good stuff about, social media and cancel culture and, things that I've seen that I could relate to. Because, yeah, it is pretty shitty how it be like that sometimes, but yeah, I wish more people were listening to 2 Minute Minor, and I wish that everyone would go and seek this album out, because I think it is definitely worthy of an A. Really, really enjoyed this. I did forget to mention that Goon's Best Friend Till the Very End is either 2 Minute Minor's 4th or 5th album. I forget which one on the timeline it is, but next up, we're moving on to a band called A Night in Texas with the Divine Dichotomy. Now, A Night in Texas are from Australia. This is their 3rd and 4th album, weirdly, because it's a 2-part thing. It's a sort of concept album, and obviously from the title and stuff, it's very, conceptualized, or at least it tries to be. But I still liked it, really solid deathcore shit. I'm giving it a B. Really good, technical musicianship. Really enjoyed how heavy it is for the most part. I feel like the concept of it doesn't always land. It doesn't seem to tell a fleshed out story, or if it does, I'm not really great at understanding it. But it does what it can for the most part. I think part 2 of the album is definitely better than part 1, but I still heavily enjoyed. I was going to say heavily enjoyed both sides. I enjoyed part 2 more than I enjoyed part 1. But yeah, I think if they rented it out a bit more, it could have been a bit higher, but I think a B is still a really good grade for it. It's still really solid deathcore stuff, and I haven't heard a lot of just straight up solid deathcore this year, so yeah, I'm actually thankful for an album like this. Really good techers, really good performances as well, and they're a band from Australia. I love the Australian music scene, especially the heavy stuff like this, so yeah, definitely worth giving a spin in your own time if you're into it. I was going to say injured, if you're into it. Next up, we move to a band that people probably forgot still existed. Bare Naked Ladies with their new album Detour de Force. This album came out, in July. This is their 13th album, technically 17th because there's some live stuff or something that they did as well, but no, I'm just looking for studio albums here. This is their 13th, and yeah, I mean, if I've listened to a couple of songs besides 1 Week and the Big Bang Theory theme tune, and I think this album is worth also a B. I was actually quite thoroughly charmed by this one. It just feels like an album you could listen to with your dad or something. I don't know, but it's it's really fun, sort of dad leaning geek rock. Really charming performances. Ed Robertson is a really goddamn good vocalist. I think people often forget that about him. He just puts so much character into the way he sings. And yeah, decent riffs. It's not as heavy as you would expect from the band or anything. It is quite chill and quite laid back, but it is another case of the good chill, And yeah, honestly, it is weird for me, but I think I would maybe say give this one a spin too. You might be pleasantly surprised by it, because I know that I was. Next up, we have the first of 2 debuts for this episode. The Hornets with their debut album Heavier Than a Stone. These are a band from Italy. This is a hard rock sort of trio. I don't think there's a lot of them, and this album needed way more polish. I'm giving this a D. This is easily my least favourite album of this episode. It's not a completely horrible debut, and I'm giving it, again, it's always the benefit of the doubt because it's a debut, but they needed so much more time to work on this. The production is a hot mess for the most part. It's not as heavy as it claims to be with this album title, and there's not a lot on it, but it's only really great for the last 2 songs maybe, and even then, I'd recommend skirting around this one. It just falls into way too many hard rock tropes that I've heard so many times in the past couple of years, and I'm just sick of it, really. There's nothing new ventured, there's nothing tried here that I haven't heard before, so yeah, definitely avoid this one. Also, I know I said it before, but the production, fuck the production on this thing, seriously. Luckily, we moved from a bad debut to a good debut. Washington's Let Me Down with their album Tacoma, not Katoma. Tacoma is for lovers. They are from Washington, so it's great that they picked a Washington-based city, probably the one that they're from, for the for this album title. And I heavily enjoyed this one, much like I've enjoyed a lot of these smaller indie punk, much like I liked "Love Is for Lovers" by the Real Stickies, I think is what their name was. Yeah, I'm giving this an A. Really love this. Just some honest, heartfelt punk. There's a trio of them. Like, the bass work on this by the lead vocalist is absolutely amazing, and the lead vocalist himself has like that old sort of punk drawl. He's not one of these new fancy pretty boy singers. Like, he's got this grit to his voice, and I love it when new punk acts have that. I don't know how long these guys have been around though, because from what I've seen in music videos and photos, they do seem like they've been around the scene for a long time. I don't know if they've been in bands before this, but I should definitely find out. And you should definitely listen to this album. Really solid musicianship, really great lyrics as well. Really, really good, just so like honest, raw, heartfelt emotion to everything. Like, it almost reminds me in places of Brave Faces Everyone by Spanish Love Songs. Not with as much emotion, but still plenty of it, and still super duper enjoyable. So yeah, seek this one out. And finally for this one, we move to Germany's own Powerwolf with their 8th album, Call of the Wild. Now, I have wanted to fully listen to a Powerwolf album for a long time. I missed their last one, The Sacrament of Sin, and I was kind of pissed at myself because that was around the time I'd heard of them, and I was like, I'll just wait for the next one, and I'm so glad I waited. I'm giving this a B+. I think it's really goddamn solid, and don't get me wrong, I'm glad I listened to one, but the reason I'm not giving it anything in the A grade is because I haven't listened to enough of them before this point. Like, the only song I've heard is Resurrection by Erection, you know, and I think I've heard like one or two more besides that, but this is my first full album, and I think it's a really good jumping point for me. You know, it was a really good time for me to dip my toe in the pool, as it were. So yeah, really like this one. Solid musician stuff. Really like the keyboard work, especially. Really good production for an album on Napalm Records. Sometimes they do get it right, sometimes they don't. They get it right more often than Nuclear Blast does. I'll give them that credit. Yeah, really just solid stuff, and you can tell that these guys are veterans. They've been around for 18 years now, so yeah, they've definitely got that instinct to them, and I think this album is just really gosh darn good, so you should definitely give it a spin. And that'll about do it for this episode. That's all 6 albums covered quite well. The next episode will have 5 albums. One of those will be the new Descendants album, which I haven't heard yet, but I'm looking forward to it because I've wanted to listen to one of their albums for a long time. That's beside the point. Immediate future things. Let's see. Hopefully Further Night review tomorrow, if there is one to do. After that, nothing really. I've got to start working on A Day to Remember 2-part episode for backtracking. And next week I might be able to get a top 10 list out because I have another one-on-one right in mind, and there is a game review I've had on the back burner which I'll try and get the week after that out. Oh, and also from Tuesday through till Friday I'll be streaming once a night because I've got the Golden Path tournament to do. So yeah, I am going to be fairly busy next week. I'm not going to be making as many videos, but there will be a lot of streaming to do. So just forewarning on that, and that'll about do it. Yeah. Also thank you to absolutely no one who came to watch my game stream last night. I tried again on Superhot and failed miserably, so there you go, that'll about do it. Yeah, I'll just end it now as always. Thank you for watching, you're awesome, bye bye.